Okay, so let's head over to Workspace Studio and try to set up our vacation email and leave automation. So let's go ahead and choose a starter. So when I get an email, you can choose all emails or specific emails, but it looks like you can't search attachments. You can only say certain words or the sender. So that's an important thing to note. So I'll click this one and then let's choose a step. So when I get an email, I want to be able to forward this information to someone. Now, what I can do is draft a reply to them, which could be useful, just letting them know I'm out of office. Or I can star the email or mark it as read or unread. I can add the labels, so I am able to add that this should be checked by someone on my team, but I'm not able to actually forward the email and get it to them. So that's important. So let's see how we can handle this within Zenphi. Because as of now within Workspace Studio, this is what our automation would look like. I get an email, I draft a reply letting them know I'm out of office, and then I can add the label for someone to actually look at the email, but this isn't being forwarded to anyone. So let's head over to Zenphi now. Within Zenphi, I would recommend building two flows. So one option is to start with a Zenphi form. You can have a form to be able to gather the information for the out of office period. So for example, what email they want to forward everything to, the start day of leave, as well as the end date of leave. And then with that information, what we could do is update the Gmail vacation settings. So we have an action that does this. You choose the email that it should affect. So in this case, whoever filled out the form, you can add information to the subject or the body. That way, whoever needs to see the response, whether it's a client or anyone, they can see this. We can provide who they should reach out to easily. You can choose if it should restrict to the domain or to the contacts only. And then down at the bottom, you're able to choose what period you want to have this Gmail vacation setting on. So it'd be the start day of leave and the end date of leave. So this is perfect. It's only going to be active during that period. So then what we're going to do is wait until the leave starts. We can pause the flow until a specific time. What we will do then is create the forwarding address. So whoever they indicated will automatically get their email once we set up the auto forwarding. We can forward a copy of all of their emails. You can choose if you want to mark the copy as read. You can archive them, delete them, etc. And then after the leave is over, we can delete the forwarding address altogether. So this is going to be a really quick way to make sure that whoever is in charge of handling your emails can actually see them, but only during the period that is indicated. And then if you actually want to be able to handle the labels, you can add something like this within your flow. For example, if you have a Gmail trigger, we could check the labels. If they're part of your VIP clients, we could send them an email. And then here we can add the label indicating that we have sent it to someone else to be able to execute. However, the difference between this and with Workspace Studio is here we have already forwarded the email. So not only are they tagged, they have also already received them. So yes, even though there's certain functionalities here that we can implement with Workspace Studio, it's still lacking the ability to be able to grant us that administrative control to be able to actually forward the emails and keep everyone in the loop during that period. As you can see, the real power here is the automation of the delegation itself. While Studio can help you write the content, Zenphi is going to manage the actual rules and configuration of the mailbox to ensure that whenever your team is away, your star clients receive a seamless experience without a single manual click from an admin. So if you're ready to be able to automate your team's transition, Zenphi is the perfect place to start.
Hi, I'm Arshia, Technical Support Engineer at Zenphi Support Team. In this video, we are asking a big question. Can Workspace Studio build an AI agent that will check overlapping conditions and act on the result? Here is the scenario. A leave request is submitted via a Google form, capturing the email, start date, and end date. The agent needs to access a replacement sheet, find people whose availability fully covers the requested date, select the first available replacement, and finally, assign a task to the replacement to act on the employee's behalf. For example, replacing a store staff member or restaurant personnel. This seems standard, right? The agent needs to read a form, read a sheet, check overlapping conditions, and create a task. But as we will see, this is where Studio struggles.
So let's look at Studio. Studio can read the form and access the sheets, but it cannot compare conditions effectively. The check if action doesn't allow you to check intersections. You cannot mathematically ask it to check if the available from and available to columns in your sheet overlap with the leave request dates. It just doesn't have the logic. You might think, why not ask Gemini? Ask Gemini probably can identify the person in text, but not always. That output is just plain text. You cannot use it in the next step. You can extract the email address reliably to assign a task. And there is one final deal breaker. Studio only allows you to create tasks for yourself. You cannot automate assigning a task to a different user, which makes this whole delegation workflow impossible in Studio. Now let's go to Zenphi, where we can automate this seamlessly. First, I want to show you two powerful features, Zenphi tables and Zenphi forms. Instead of basic Google Sheet, we store our staff availability in a Zenphi table. This is a database that is deeply integrated with all Zenphi features, allowing us to store real dates and data types, not just text. And instead of a Google form, we use a Zenphi form. It looks similar, but has much more power. The staff selects their department and their start and end dates directly here. Now, look at the flow. When the form is submitted, we use the least records action. This is where the magic happens. We don't need a separate query step. Right inside these actions options, we filter by department and we check the availability dates. We can mathematically confirm if the staff member's availability fully covers the requested leave, all in one step. Then we have a simple if condition. If we find the match, it goes to the request data action. Unlike Studio, Zenphi allows us to assign this task to anyone in the organization. We can ask, can you fill in? And we can even set automatic reminders and an expiry time. We can send this to multiple people and set it so the first person to respond gets the shift automatically. If we don't find a match, we simply inform the manager that no one is available. As you can see, Zenphi handled the complex data logic, the database filtering, and the task management seamlessly.